Omegamon first appeared in the Digimon movie Our War Game, or the mess that was Digimon the movie by Fox, for those of us who have never seen the original version, easily becoming one of the most beloved Digimon in the franchise to date. So beloved in fact that this Digimon has more forms than Goku, and Bandai just can't stop. Being a Royal Knight class Digimon, and having battled the likes of Alphamon, Jesmon, and Crackmon to a standstill, what would have happened if Omegamon had shown up in the true final battle of Adventure? Against Apocalymon, would he have been able to outright stop him? Would the Digidestined still have needed to rely on the powers of the Digivices to do so? Let's dive into it. Apocalymon is a being of pure destruction and chaos, in some instances being stated to be born from the negative emotions of humans. In Adventure, it's stated that his very existence alone warped the fabric of space-time, threw the world into chaos, and almost brought on, and I quote, total destruction. This level of power feels very similar to that of the Digital Hazard, which I have spoken on ad nauseum at this point on my channel. He was also the orchestrator of the Dark Master's plans, being the one who provided them their power. And if you've seen my Dark Masters video, you'd know how ridiculously impressive that is, seeing that the Dark Masters alone were going to completely destroy the digital and human worlds. But if we take a small dive into the cosmology of the digital world, we can see that Apocalymmon's goal, which he nearly achieved, was much more lofty than just the human and digital world. In Digimon Adventure 02, we get an explanation of the different parallels of the digital and human world after Kari gets sucked into the Dark Ocean. It's explained that similar to the Dark Ocean, there are likely other dimensions that parallel the digital world that the cast is just unaware of. This suspicion is proven correct later in 02 when we find out that Oikawa used the same pedestal from Vamdemon's castle that the OG Digidestin and Vamdemon himself used to reach the real world. Oikawa used said pedestal, and instead of using the Gomamon card like Tai did in Adventure, he used the Agumon card, thus bringing him to the world of dreams. Another parallel to the digital world, similar to the Dark Ocean. If we take a look back at a statement made by Gennai in Adventure, we know that if you just randomly put cards on the pedestal, you could end up in any number of different bizarre worlds that run parallel to the digital world. Now, how many worlds can this pedestal reach exactly? 362,880. There are at least 362,880 different possible parallel worlds to the digital world within the Adventure server alone. On top of that, there is the Dark Area, also known as the World of Darkness, which is where Apocalymon comes from, being the lowest layer of the Adventure digital world, completely separate from the likes of File Island and the Folder Continent, and similar to the digital world itself, is infinite in size and infinitely layered, with the lowest layer being Cocytus. Cocytus is a very special place, as it's not only where the 7 Demon Lords hang out, it's also known that Cocytus is a dimension shared between every single digital world. This would mean that the Adventure digital world is directly linked with places like the Iliad server, Witchelney, and the Tamer's digital world. Seeing as the Dark Area and subsequently Cocytus are a part of the digital world, and as stated by the cast of 02 that all of the worlds parallel to the digital world would be destroyed if balance was lost, Apocalymmon's goal to pull the human and digital world into the Dark Area would have affected a structure vastly larger than we would have ever been aware of in the original series, hence the statement, total destruction. It's safe to say that Apocalymon is insanely powerful, and very well may pose a massive threat to Omegamon. Moving on to Omegamon, we know in his first appearance that he was able to turn Diablomon into nothing more than a trivial matter, and keep in mind, each clone was just as strong as the original Diablomon. We see in our war games that both MetalGarurumon and Wargreymon are no match for this same Diablomon. Even without the large amount of lag they were experiencing, it's stated in promotional material that Ultimate Level or Mega Level Digimon as a whole are no match for Diablomon. This is to say that obviously, Omegamon is vastly stronger than the sum of his parts. In Digimon Adventure Tri, we see Omegamon fight Alphamon to a standstill multiple times. This being the same Alphamon who was able to survive the reset initiated by Yggdrasil. And while Alphamon was working for Yggdrasil during this time, Jesmon also survived and proceeded to fight this same Alphamon to a standstill, meaning that all 3 of these Digimon should scale directly to each other. In that same instance, the Dark Masters, who were directly powered by Apocalymon, were revived and taken control of by Gennai. This may be conjecture, but in my opinion, this tells me that Apocalymon may be powerful, but it can be controlled by the will of Yggdrasil, where Digimon like the 3 Royal Knight class Digimon we see in Adventure Tri cannot. We can back this idea up with the entirety of the X Evolution movie. Now that we're done with my opinion piece, let's dive into some more concrete scaling. To start off, let's look at the parts of Omegamon. In the novelization of Adventure, we're given a bit more in terms of action when it comes to the Digidestin versus Apocalymon fight. We can see here that while not able to take out Apocalymon entirely, Wargreymon and MetalGarurumon were able to destroy Apocalymon's physical form. Unfortunately for them, Apocalymon is a non-physical being the embodiment of darkness itself. Moving on, like always, it's time to bring up Tamers. Unlike the majority of Digimon seasons, Digimon Tamers has two separate movies. Runaway Locomon, and the one we're talking about today, Battle of Adventurers. I'm sure you can see where I'm going with this. Not only does this movie have some wonderful Omegamon action in it, it has been confirmed that this Omegamon is the same one from Adventure and Zero Two. In this movie, it's also implied that Adventure Omegamon had defeated Apocalymon only for him to reappear in another form. But if we look at some of the promotional material for this movie, we learn that Omegamon did indeed defeat Apocalymon, and his will, rather than his data, was inherited by a freshly formed Digimon. Meaning, Adventure Omegamon was able to 1v1 Apocalymon and win. We can go even further by taking another look at Diablomon. As I mentioned previously, Diablomon was not only stronger than the sum of two Mega Digimon, not only did Diablomon have hundreds and thousands of clones that were equal in strength to the original, it has also been stated that Apocalymon at full power is almost as strong as Diablomon. This would mean that in his very first appearance, the first time they had ever fused, Adventure Omegamon decimated hundreds of thousands of Digimon who were at a bare minimum equal to, if not stronger than the Apocalymon we see at the end of the Adventure anime. And that same Omegamon has canonically beaten the very same Apocalymon. So in the end, just like canon, Omegamon slams. Thank you all so much for watching. See you in the next video.